The movie begins with a girl named Aria waking up in a dark elevator, with her hands tied and a blindfold over her eyes. Feeling dazed, she looks around, but since she cannot see anything, she begins to call out for help. Suddenly, she hears a loud beeping sound, just before the elevator plunges to the ground. Due to the speed that the elevator drops, Aria is lifted from the ground before she slams back onto the ground, and loses consciousness. When she wakes up again, she still finds herself in the elevator, but this time, she is able to free tied hands. She then takes off her blindfold and looks around. Aria finds herself trapped in an elevator in an abandoned building. Behind her, a monitor comes on and off. All of a sudden, the elevator starts going up once again and stops at the 52nd floor. She looks up and finds a latch above the elevator with a fluorescent exit sign. She tries reaching for it but is unable to. She then hears a beeping sound and finds that she still has her cell phone in her pocket. She takes it out and finds a voicemail on it from her mother. She listens to the voicemail and finds that her mother had accidentally sent her a voicemail when her father was trying to make sure that his family was safe. She hears her mother's panicked voice and then her own before a gunshot goes off. The voicemail then ends, leaving a confused and scared Aria alone. She begins crying when suddenly, a few metal rods fall on the elevator, causing it to drop again. Once the elevator comes to a halt, Aria notices a security camera. She starts waving at it and calls for help, but receives no answer. She then tries opening the elevator's doors and fails to do so. The lights inside the elevator come on and once again, the elevator begins to drop. Aria manages to get tossed around the elevator by holding onto a handle in the corner. She then takes out her phone and tries calling the emergency helpline. At first, she does not get clear signals, but after a while, she gets connected to the manufacturers of the elevators. A man answers her call and asks about her whereabouts. She tells him that she does not know where she is and that she is trapped. The man tells her to hold while he gets help. Despite Aria telling him to not make him wait, he puts her on hold. However, before the man can get back to her, another voice filters through the speakers and interrupts her call, causing it to disconnect. The elevator plunges again and the lights go out. Aria loses consciousness due to the impact. She then has a flashback of two little girls standing on the beach. Aria starts to regain her consciousness when a voice calls out to her and tells her to wake up. When she opens her eyes, she notices a quick flash of a group of men, when the screen goes dark again. She then begins to hear her father's voice through the speakers. He is talking to someone about controlling Aria's nightmares, however, he sounds worried that dealing with the nightmares would also mean Aria would lose her memories. Trying to make sense of what is going on, Aria once again tries to open the elevator doors. This time, she manages to open them just a fraction, before the camera in the elevator focuses on her and the elevator immediately drops down and knocks her out again. She then has a dream where Aria and her twin sister Zara are hiding in a vault, with Aria practicing magic inside. She tells Zara that they must tell their parents about their powers. Meanwhile, their mother talks to their father and tells him that she believes that their daughters have special powers. She tells her husband that there are strange markings on the girls' wrists and that the trees surrounding their house had appeared overnight. Aria's dream then ends when she is woken up by the buzzing of her cell phone. She finds that it is her mother calling her. She immediately picks up the phone and starts crying. She questions her mother and asks her what is going on, to which she replies that she needs to keep her phone hidden and that once she gets out, she needs to find her sister, Zara. Suddenly, a gunshot goes off, and the call gets disconnected. Aria gets a flashback, where was had woken up from a nightmare and her parents had come into her room to comfort her. The next morning, her father tried to get her to open up about her nightmare. She told him that she had dreamt that an older version of her watching them. Back in the elevator, Aria receives another call from her uncle Jack. She picks up the call and begs him to save her. He tells her what to do but the connection cuts off before she can make out what he is saying. Then, the screen comes on and Aria notices that the men that she had seen earlier, had his father tied up and were torturing him. One of the men demands her father for the location of an engineer, but when he refuses to say anything, the man instructs his accomplice to tamper with the elevator's settings. Her father tries to stop them but he is too late and the elevator starts to fall again. Aria has another vision of her at the beach with her father. He was asking her to explain their powers to him. In the present time, Aria wakes up and notices that the elevator is going up again and the camera has been turned off, leaving the screen dark. She quickly calls Uncle Jack and begins telling him that she was on a family vacation when her father suddenly told them that they were here. When Uncle Jack asks who they were, Aria tells him that she does not know. Her uncle then reveals that Aria and her family had been under the witness protection program. Her father was a CIA operative and had sensitive information that many people wanted, including Yaroslav, a Russian mob leader. He tells her that he is not her uncle, but has been helping her family stay hidden. He then advises Aria to keep her cell phone hidden from the camera until he can get help. Once again, the screen turns on, this time, her father was seated with Yaroslav sitting beside him. He orders Aria to take her clothes off or he will torture her father. When she refuses to obey him, Yaroslav cuts off her father's ear. He then repeats his orders and tells Aria that he will cause the elevator to drop again if she refuses to obey him. Her father tells her to not listen to Yaroslav and manages to free himself. He grabs a gun from one of the men standing near him and shoots him dead. However, before he can escape, he is caught again and the screen goes dark. The screen turns back on and Yaroslav cuts off Aria's father's fingers as punishment. He then sends the elevator down. This time, she has a flashback to when she was younger and was sitting with her sister Zara. Aria makes Zara promise not to use her magic to hurt anyone or interfere when the man after them attack them. When Aria wakes up, she finds that the camera in the elevator was turned off. Determined to get out of the elevator, she begins to climb up to reach the exit latch on top of the elevator, but falls and hurts her arm. Feeling helpless, Aria sits down and watches videos of her friends and family. Just then, a video of Zara begins to play on the screen. Aria gets a flashback to when she confronted Zara who had killed a man. Zara tells Aria that the man had deserved it. Aria tells Zara that they cannot change the future and that their actions will have consequences. Then, their parents show up and ask them who killed the man and Aria takes the blame. Once the flashback ends, Yaroslav comes back on the screen and begins to waterboard Aria's father. He then causes the elevator to plummet again. This time, Aria has a flashback of her blaming an older Zara for killing several people. Soon, she receives a call from Jack, who asks her to pinpoint her location, but she tells him that she does not know where she is. He then tells Aria that her father knew the location of an engineer who had mastered a way to help people become cognitively advanced. The Russians were after the engineer and had sent Yaroslav to get his location. When Yaroslav comes back on the screen, he tells Aria to ask her father to reveal the location of the engineer. Before she can reply, he notices another elevator rising in the building, and sends one of his men to check it out. It turns out that the elevator's manufacturers had sent one of their men to check up on her. However, as soon as the man arrives on the floor where Aria was on, he is killed by Yaroslav's men. Yaroslav then drops the elevator again, causing Aria to get tossed around. The elevator goes dark again and she notices a small opening. She pushes it open and finds that she is at a terrifying height, but that she can escape using it. Then, Uncle Jack calls her again. She tells him that she has discovered an opening and could escape using it, but he tells her that she cannot leave her father alone or he will be killed. Agreeing to stay inside the elevator, Aria gets back inside. All of a sudden, the elevator drops again causing her phone to slip out of her hand. When the camera turns off, Aria climbs out of the elevator through the small opening and goes to retrieve her cell phone. While getting back into the elevator, Aria hurts herself and sits back in defeat knowing that she might not be able to escape alive. She then tries to make a call when the camera turns back on and Yaroslav shows up on the screen. He asks Aria who she is calling. When she is unable to answer him, he threatens to kill her father. She admits that she has been in contact with the CIA but they have not been able to locate her. Yaroslav angrily causes the elevator to drop again. When the elevator stops again, Aria calls Uncle Jack and tells him that Yaroslav has discovered that she is communicating with the CIA. He tells her that he knows it is hard to trust anyone, but that she should make her father talk. It turns out that Uncle Jack was Yaroslav all along. Soon, Aria's father appears on the screen. He was alone and she begs him to talk, all the while on the call with Uncle Jack. He tells her that there was no engineer and that he had fabricated the story so that he could protect his daughters and keep their abilities hidden. Just then, an angry Yaroslav reveals his identity as Uncle Jack. Aria's father tells her to play a voicemail as he can no longer protect her. When she plays it, her body twists at an odd angle and her eyes begin to glow. When she gets back to normal, Yaroslav shoots her father. This causes an angry Aria to channel all of her power and she disintegrates into small particles. Yaroslav sends him men to check on Aria and as they get on the elevator, a face with glowing eyes appears on the wall. The movie ends with Yaroslav's men plummeting to their death. When Aria materializes her body, she finds her father dying. He tells her to find Zara so that the two of them can create a better world together. That is it for today's recap. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button and check out the other videos from our channel.